Good morning, good morning, good morning. My name is Don Daniel, founder of Pill Method International, a better way to eliminate debt. Pill stands for prepayment of principal, isolating the principal amount, leverage, and liquidity. When we understand those four banking principles, everything that has to do with lending somehow fits within one or more of those four categories. Once you understand it, then you can understand that you can come up with a program or a plan to cut your interest costs on all of your loans and therefore be out of debt completely in an average of 7 to 9 years instead of 30 years to never. Good morning, Jared. Hey, listen, man, what's going on with the app? It won't let me pin a link to the top of the since the update. What's going on with it? Is yours the same way?
Yes, mine is the same way. I have to log on Club Deck on my desktop to pin the link. So I might bounce out and bounce back in a second. But yeah, this is something that's happening to some accounts. Some accounts is not happening. So it's just one of those things where we just have to, kind of work through it. But yeah.
Well, we can utilize the chat, man, because I mean, you you know how to pivot. So, folks, if you want to see what we're talking about today, we're going to be putting some examples on your screen. So, if you have a separate device like a tablet or your laptop or your computer, then you can go to ice10kvideos.com, ice10kvideos.com, and you can watch our live stream on YouTube. Or you can just search for Pill Method on any one of your favorite social media apps like Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and you can find Pill Method there and then watch our live stream there as well. But we're trying to build up our presence on YouTube. So if you would do that for us, that would be greatly appreciated. Go to YouTube at ice10kvideos.com. You can see our live broadcast there, and go ahead and click that subscribe button and the notification bell so that any new video that we have, you'll be able to take advantage of that information there. And Jared, this is show number 92. Can you believe it? 92. We almost have 100 shows posted. What do you say about that?
I think it's amazing. And the thing about this room is it's real tangible information that you've never heard before. Your real estate broker, your financial analyst or advisor, your banker, your accountant, none of them really understand or knew about this method because banks don't want you to understand amortization schedules. Because once you figure out how to prepay interest and cut interest costs, you're saving yourself hundreds of thousands of dollars over your lifetime, redistributing that interest cost you send to the bank and redistributing back to your personal investments, your kids' inheritance. And so we really do change lives with this room. But what really helps this room is questions, because the back and forth really helps illustrate the example. So would love to see who from Women in Business is going to be the first to raise their hand, come on stage and ask a question. And if you're looking at this on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, or Twitter, where we're live streaming from Don's studio, if you have a question, please put it in the chat and somebody will make sure that we add you to the queue as well. But the more questions, the better. But until we have a question, go ahead and have an example up of one of your clients. And yeah, let's show them how this works on a mortgage. And you can see this on YouTube. Check out the chat for the directions, ice10kvideos.com, choose episode 92, and then you will be able to see these examples live on your computer, iPad, or desktop screen. All right, so Don, I would love for you to introduce yourself to the Women in Business Club who may not know you and may not know what the Pill Method is.
Thank you, Jared. My name is Don Daniel, founder of Pill Method International, a better way to eliminate debt. We have a book by the same name that has been a 5-time bestseller on Amazon. And out of 33 million titles on Amazon, there's only one book that talks about how to understand amortization schedules, how banks make their money through this schedule, and how to defeat it so that you can end up paying not just a little bit less interest, you can pay 2/3 less, save 75% on your interest cost without making more money. You see, you don't need more money to get out of debt. You just need to pay less interest. You can do this with your current budget and without sacrificing lifestyle. You see, there's a guy that lives north of me about an hour and a half. I'm in Huntsville, Alabama, and he's in Nashville, Tennessee. And his approach to debt elimination is don't go anywhere, don't do anything at all, don't have any fun, take all your money and throw it at the debt. Eat beans and rice if you have to, 7 days a week. Cut up your credit cards. Drive a 30-year-old car. Do whatever it is that you have to do to get out of debt. We don't believe in that at all. You can live an enhanced lifestyle, a great lifestyle. Go on vacations every year. Show you how that where you need to cut back is not on your lifestyle. Where you need to cut back is on the amount of interest that you pay. And guess what? We can disrupt the bank's timing, which makes it impossible for them to charge us that interest. And therefore, we can pay off all of our debt in record time by paying a lot less interest. And we can still live well while we're doing it. And not only that, but we can save a ton of money in our investments as well. Listen, pay off the debt, save money in your investments, and live well while you're doing it. Whoever heard of that? Folks, we're going to be talking about that today. So if you have any questions about that at all, in reference to your mortgages, to your student loans, to credit cards, to personal loans, to buying your personal house, to buying investment real estate. When is the best time to cash out refi? What about these interest rates that are going up now? Are there any questions about that? And understanding how we should purchase in terms of should we make a large down payment? All of those things are fair game today. So if you have a question about any of that, please come to the stage and ask your question. And besides that, go ahead and ping a few people in here as well and share this room in the hallway so that you can understand more and more about it. Okay? Fantastic.
All right, Don. So yeah, please share the room. We appreciate that. And it's that little box with the arrow that points up. Click that. Click share on Clubhouse, where you can share to individuals in your network. They're going to thank you for sharing this information. But Don, let's go ahead and jump into the first question. And it looks like Erica Frazier has come up on stage.
Good morning, everyone. So I had a question. We're looking to purchase a home, and we were trying to get our interest rate lower. So we were looking at paying to get a point down. Is that something we should do, or save our money for something else and try to do the P.I.L.L method? This is my first time actually hearing about it, so I want to know more about it, but we want to um, have less debt. So that was one thing that we were looking at. So it would save us money in the long run.
Erica, I am so glad you talked. I am so glad you talked about saving money in the long run. So tell me, when is it that you're planning on purchasing your home?
Within the next 30 days, we're looking right now, and hopefully we'll be able to um, submit an offer within the next week.
Okay, great. Are you able to use a separate device to see this example I'm getting ready to put on the screen for you, like your computer or tablet or something?
Um, I actually don't have any.
Okay. Well, listen, you can watch the replay. How about that?
Okay.
All right.
Okay. That works.
Because it's going to be up on YouTube as soon as we're done. It's going out to YouTube right now. So but it's going to be kind of hard to visualize without actually seeing the numbers. But can I give you just a quick overview? And are you taking a few notes?
Yes, I'm taking notes.
Fantastic. So first of all, it is much easier to pay off a loan faster and cheaper at the higher interest rates. I never, ever, 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 never, ever, ever, ever buy down the interest rate. Okay.
Okay.
So let me in terms of that, let me give you an idea of what's happening. So I take it that are you renting right now?
So no, I currently live overseas, so where I'm staying at is paid for.
Okay. So but you ever rented before at all?
Yes.
Okay. And in the time that you have rented, have you ever seen the rent go down ever in life?
No. No.
Okay. So if landlords don't lower the rent, why do banks lower mortgage payments? Have you ever thought of that?
No, I never thought about that.
So, does it make sense that if rents never go down, and you've been renting for a long period of time, and it says, oh, you've been with us 5 years. And so now that you've been with us 5 years, now that I look at how much you're charging you in rent, why don't we renegotiate this so that you can pay us less rent? Can you even imagine that?
They will be losing so much money.
Right. So if do you know that people that have mortgages that have been in their mortgage for 5 to 7 years at maybe a higher interest rate, and their own bank, their same bank, will contact them by mail and by telephone. This the current bank that has them in this higher interest rate will call them and say, you know what, interest rates dropped. Why don't you come in and refinance so we can lower your payment so you can save money? Do you know people jump on that all day?
Yes, I have another home and they were trying to get me to do it, but I didn't know, what it actually would cost.
Yes.
So I told them no. I told them I'll just stay where I'm at.
Because see, the thing is, so they have you at a higher interest rate. So let me ask you this: if you're saving money by refinancing, who would have to be losing money?
They would.
Exactly.
Why would they lose money?
Exactly. Why would they lose money? So there's something in it for the bank when they offer you, listen, here's our interest rate, but if you give us a few $1,000s, we'll lower the interest rate for you. So that what? They can lose money? The amount of money that they're talking about, and when you look at the long term, when you look at the long term, the length of time you're going to be in a mortgage, it says, why would they do that? Because what they're charging me would not cover their losses based on my different mortgage payment over 30 years. That's 360 payments. Add it up, add up the 360 payments, multiply that by my savings on my payment, comes to tens of thousands of dollars, and they're not even beginning to charge me even a tenth of that to lower my interest rate. So why would they do it? When we do the math, it doesn't make sense, does it?
No, because previously
Yeah,
they were telling us it was like $13,000 for one point.
right. And that was going to for $13,000. Okay, they're going to charge 13,000. For case in point, we're going to do a little math, and I'm going to go ahead and get ready to share my screen here, so people can see what we're doing. I'm going to do a little bit of math. I'm going to put up a calculator on the screen, and you said $13,000. Now, do you have an estimation about how much your your payment was going to go down because of saving that point for 13,000?
I don't remember. It was basically what we were saving. I want to say like 30,000 or more than that.
Okay.
I don't know what the payment
Well,
was.
I'm talking about, yeah, the payment per month. So because you do that in order to lower the payment as well. So do you have any idea what the payment was, how the payment was going to change? Even your best
I think
guess?
maybe $200.
Maybe $200.
Something like
And you know what?
yeah.
That's pretty standard. That's pretty standard. So I believe that. So $200, right? And so now I'm going to multiply your $200 savings times 360, 360 months. All right.
Hmm.
That's 30 years. It comes to $72,000. All right.
Yeah, that
72,000.
sounds about right.
All right. So they said, well, we're going to um, lose $72,000. And how much are they charging you?
13,000.
So they're going to charge you 13,000 so that they can lose 72,000.
Yeah, didn't make sense to me either.
So people don't stop to do the math, Erica, and ask these questions like you're asking them. So the bank actually knows that by lowering the interest rate makes it harder for you to pay off this loan. They know that. The people who work in the bank don't know it. The people who own the bank know it very well. So I'm going to put something on the screen here to kind of demonstrate that. The amount of, what is the amount of money you're looking to borrow? And I'll use that as a starting point.
500,000.
Okay, 500,000. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in 500,000 and I'm going to put it at 5.5%. Okay. Because who knows what the interest rate is going to be. So I'm just kicking it up way up there. Okay.
Okay.
And then I'm going to do another one at 2.99, which we probably will never see again. But if we do see it, it won't be for a very long time. Would you agree?
Yes, I agree.
Okay. So I'm going to put another one up at 2.99. So we're going to duplicate this tab and we're going to put the same loan in at 2.99. What I'm getting ready to show is that the one at 5.5%, if you can afford the payment now, that's going to be a key. If you can afford the payment, the loan at 2.99 is harder to pay off, cheaper and faster than the one at 5.5. 5.5, if you can afford the payment, you can pay this loan off faster and cheaper by prepaying this loan. So let me get into that a little bit. And if you're new to the room and you just heard what I said and you want to see what we're talking about, go ahead and click on or go to ice10kvideos.com, ice10kvideos.com. And let's go ahead and Jared, are you able to put that link up, or Credit Goddess, can you put that link up for us? Because once I update it, I'm no longer able to put the link up. Can you believe that?
So you want to put Ice 10K videos on the top?
Oh, so you got it in the chat?
Yeah, it's in the chat.
Okay. All right. So folks, it's in the chat. ice10kvideos.com is in the chat. So you can use that to see what we're doing and on the live stream. All right. Excellent, excellent, excellent. All right. So, and then once we get through this, we're going to go over how you can learn this for yourselves. So let's start out at the 5.5%. And the payment on that, the principal and interest payment is $2,838.95. $2,838.95. So, Miss Erica, so now I want to show you that when the bank is making this kind of money, did you realize that on a $500,000 loan at 5.5%, you know how much interest the bank wants over a 30-year period? It is $522,000.
Wow.
They want more in interest than you borrowed in principal. So, in other words, by the time this house is paid for, they want over $1 million. When you add the amount that you borrow and the interest payment. So once you negotiate the price for that house, and you sign a contract, there's nothing you can do about the price of the house, is there?
No.
Okay. But what about the interest? What if there's something you could do about the interest that they're looking for? What if you could lower your interest cost by a ton? Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah.
Okay. So let me give you an example of what's going on here. I'll try to explain it as best I can. Well, so you can visualize it. All right. On the very first payment on this loan, $547.28 goes to principal. That pays down the loan. Out of that money that I mentioned, oh my goodness, $2,838. Only $547.28 and 28 cents goes to pay down the loan. $2,291 goes to interest. Isn't that ridiculous?
Yes.
Okay. So, would you like to know what you can do about not paying those $2,000 payments?
Sure.
All right. So, on payment number one, okay, let's say we make payment number one this month. $547 goes to principal, $2,291 goes to interest. But when you have an amortization schedule, you can actually see next month's principal payment. So for the payment for next month, $549.79 goes to principal. But the interest payment goes down by a little bit, $2,289 instead of $2,291. So there's still a $2,000 payment on line two. Now, picture this. Once you make your mortgage payment, because you already have a mortgage, then can you give the bank extra money if you want to?
Yes.
Okay. And you know you're saving time and you know you're saving interest when you do that, correct?
Yes.
Now, here's my question. Has the bank ever sent you a receipt for any loan that you ever had that you paid extra on? They said, thank you for the extra payment. Here's how much interest you saved.
No.
Really? Neither has mine. Okay. But you bought stuff on sale like at a department store before, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And then when you do that, at the bottom of the receipt, don't they print, oh, here's how much money you saved?
Mm-hmm.
Why do they do that?
Because they want you to come back and spend some more money.
Exactly. So if the bank is our friend and they want to encourage us to give them their money back, why don't they tell us how much interest we saved when we pay extra?
Because they're losing.
There you go. There you go. And they don't want us to know how much money they're losing. Isn't that something? So let me give you an example here. So payment number one we've made. We don't owe anything else until next month. But the principal payment for next month is $549. Can you visualize that?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have to wait till next month to give the bank the $549?
No.
If you had it, could you give it to them this month on top of your regular payment?
Yes.
Guess what happens when you do that? You completely eliminate line two of your amortization schedule. It's gone.
Oh, wow.
Your next mortgage payment for next month goes down to line three. Line three moves up. Number two is gone. Line three moves up into its place where you're making the payment for March or the payment for the next month after that early. So you completely eliminate line two, and line three moves up into line two's place just for paying the $549.79 early. And guess what happens to the $2,289.16 in interest that was on that line? It is canceled. You just saved over $2,200 interest for paying that $549.79 early. How about that?
Wow. You learn something new every day.
And if you're like anybody else, like a lot of people I know, they have a couple of bucks in the bank, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that couple of bucks in the bank, if even if it's in a savings account, have you looked at your savings account statement lately? And when they tell you how much interest you've earned, do you see the 1 or 2 or 3 pennies that they put on there?
Yes. It's not even worth the paper.
Yes. So listen, I said, listen, why are you even sending me this? The stamp, the stamp that you put on here costs more than the 2 or 3 pennies you told me I just earned. So here's the thing. Why do we like leaving money in the bank that's going to make us 2 or 3 pennies when as little as $549 invested in this mortgage will save us $2,289.16 in interest we'll never have to pay?
That's
Isn't that
never
something?
thought that would. That is.
How
I do have
about
a question.
go right ahead? I love questions.
Okay, so if when once you do that, you're already ahead in. But how do so? Once I'm already ahead, the next month I would still pay regular, but it's like I'm paying for the month after that, so I wouldn't have to put an additional payment down and just continue going that route, or would I need to continue doing
That's a
extra
very good
payment?
question. That's a very good question. So, if you did nothing else except make your regular mortgage payments from that point on,
Hmm.
that $2,289 in interest you saved would always be there. That savings was always you'll always have that savings. Now, you can choose to pay extra anytime in the future, but you don't have to, but you can. So anytime you're skipping payments, meaning what you're doing is that you're decreasing the number of payments. You just went from 360 payments on your contract to only now making 359 full mortgage payments.
Okay.
So you have a payment every month. You just don't have a payment for 360 months now. So,
Okay.
to make this clear, so what if we make our mortgage payment here on line one and looking at the amortization schedule, what if we gave just the bank the principal payments, not with the interest payments, but just the principal payments on line two? That's $549 that we talked about. On line three, that's $552, and line four, $554. It's like a little over $1,600. Okay, when we add it all up, we gave the bank an extra $1,600 on top of our mortgage payment. We knock out line two, three, and four. We just eliminated 4 mortgage payments that we never have to make. Okay, 4 months off of our schedule, and 60 over $7,200 in interest we never have to pay. $7,200 just for giving the bank the next 3 principal payments. And instead of our mortgage payment being on line two, our next mortgage payment would be on line five of our amortization schedule. How about that?
That sounds good.
So what we're doing is we are not saying that when you pay extra, you don't have to pay next month's payment. You have a payment every single month. But instead of 360 payments, how would you like to get that down to about 90 payments instead and be done with it? Instead of paying on this loan $500,000 in interest, what if we could pay only about, I don't know, 190 or $200,000 in interest instead of the 500,000 the bank is looking for? Would that be a deal?
Yes.
And you could do that without sacrificing lifestyle. You don't have to rob money from your family. That money that you use to, to have a good time, and to create memories for your family, you don't have to sacrifice that money and throw it at the bank. We're going to show you how to disrupt the bank's timing, which makes it impossible for them to charge you interest. And any monies that you have after all the bills are paid, after your family has designated how much money you want to spend on just lifestyle and having some fun, after that money is spent, after all the bills are paid, after all the loans are paid, then you have just a little bit of money left over. What we're going to show you is how that little bit of money left over can save you tons and tons and tons of interest. And the more interest you save, the faster you get out of debt. How does that sound?
That sounds great. But
Uh,
I do have one more question.
I have is listen. You guess how many people are on the stage right now asking questions? J-
Just me.
just you. So you can ask as many as you want. Go right ahead.
Okay. So currently we have a home that's a rental. So the monthly payment is, let's say, $400, but we pay $1,000, but we pay it, every time that it's due. So are we doing that incorrectly? Because we wanted to try to pay it down, but it seems like from what you're telling me that we should pay the payment and take the extra money and pay it at a different time or something like that.
Well, timing is important. The other thing is when you do something to come up with a good plan, you need to know what you're getting for it so that you can say, you know what? Maybe I should do something else because the something else would be a better plan. So here's my question. When you pay your extra $1,000, how much interest are you saving?
I don't know.
There you go. That's where the bank wants us. Did you know banking's the only place where we give extra money and we don't know what we're buying when we do that?
No.
If you went to the grocery store and gave them $1,000, listen, you want to see $1,000 worth of groceries.
Right.
So when you go buy clothes, you go to the department store, you want to see $1,000 worth of clothes. When you give the bank an extra $1,000, we don't see the result of that $1,000. And banking is expert for years getting everyone, not just you, I mean everyone, to do the same thing. Give us the extra money. We'll lower the amount of principal that you're paying, but we won't tell you how much interest you just saved. Let me get a little bit of information about your current mortgage, and let me give you some idea where you are with that. How would you like to know?
Okay.
So, do you have any information on the principal and interest payment for your current mortgage?
Mm,
If not,
I
I can
don't.
help you to figure it out.
Yeah, I don't think I
All
have it
right.
on
So,
hand.
as best as you can remember, how much was the amount that you borrowed, and was it a 30-year loan?
It was a 30-year loan.
Okay. So, about how much did you borrow? Okay, it doesn't have to be
A
exact.
hundred and 115.
115,000.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm putting that on there so you can see the replay later. Okay.
Okay.
115,000. And how much is your interest rate?
3.3%.
3.3%. Okay, close enough. So now we're going to see, here is if this is close, your principal and interest payment. This does not include taxes and insurance because that has nothing to do with how to pay down the loan. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So your principal and interest is right around $503.65. All right. And how long have you been in this loan? Approximately
Um, 2 years.
2 years. So that would be 24 payments. So let me take a look. First of all, when you signed this loan, the bank said on $115,000, okay, at 3.3%, here's how much interest they want over 30 years, $66,314. Now, I've never said I was a math genius, but does Does $66,000 seem like it's 3.3% of 115,000?
No.
No, it's actually 57.664%. It's over half. So how in the world is it? How did we get to 3.3? That's number one. So number two, let's go down to the very first payment. Very first payment, $187.40 goes to principal. $316 goes to interest. Your very first year on this loan, here's how much principal's paid down. Here's how much interest was paid down. Your very first year, you paid this loan down by $2,283.13. And it costs $3,760.67 in interest to do that if you weren't paying extra. In 2 years, 24 payments, that would be $4,642.77 of your hard-earned money going to principal and over $7,444 going to interest. So you're putting about an extra $1,000 on this loan, right?
No, so we're paying a total of $1,000.
Oh, so how much extra is going on over and above your payment?
So I want to say at least 500.
At least $500. Okay. So if we were to do $500, look at if you can see this, your principal payments are like in the $180 range. Okay. And even after 2 years, they're still at $199 at the end of 2 years. So we're still in under $200 a month going to principal. Okay. So if we could do $500, let me show you here on this amortization schedule on line 3. When we add up the principal payments, you'll have $563.75 in principal paid. Okay.
Okay.
563. If you prepay that, so in other words, give the bank an extra $560 at this point, you knock off about 3 payments and save yourself about $947 in interest.
Okay.
So even now, if you pay an extra $500 or so, you're still almost saving about $900 in interest by prepaying that $500. Isn't that valuable information to you?
Yes.
Now, let me ask you this. If you knew by paying an extra $500, you were saving about $900 in interest, would you have altered your plan?
No.
You'd be okay with the $900 in interest savings?
So that's just the entire savings?
No, I mean, every time you do it.
Oh.
Every time you put
I mean,
500 down, you would save about 900 in, at least in the early part of the loan, you would save about $900 in interest. Every month you paid an extra $500. Wouldn't you be?
good, but
Go ahead.
if I could save more, I would be interested in saving more.
You'd be interested in saving more. So by having that information, now you could come up with some different ideas. Huh.
Yes.
So what if you had a little bit more money available to you than the $500? You'd be tempted to say, what would $700 do for me? Or what would $1,000 do for me? But you can't do that. Why? Because we don't even know what the original $500 is doing for us.
Right.
Once you know, you can come up with a plan, correct?
Yes.
How about that? Listen, I can't wait for you to tell your husband, say, listen, we need to take a look at this video so I can see these numbers that this guy is talking about.
Yes.
All right.
I can't wait.
So here's the other thing. Our average client pays off a mortgage because of this information, because we have a computer program that does all of the math and says, after you've paid all of your bills, after you paid your insurances, after you put money in your savings for retirement, and after you pay the minimum payment on all of your debt. Our program then says, oh, let's put this extra money in the savings account. Okay? When it reaches a certain point, now here's the rest of the story. You don't want to just save some interest. You want to save, because every dollar you place on principal, you want to save the most in interest, don't you? Or do you just want to save some interest?
No, the most.
The most. Because whenever we do something, we want to get the biggest bang for our buck, don't we?
Yes.
So because of the timing involved, we want to pay the right amount in the right month on the right day of the month to save the most amount of interest per dollar. Okay? So let's just say, now I'm going to do a little math. I'm going to put this on the screen. And I'm going to take a look at the very first year on this mortgage. $2,283.13 is the amount of principal you would pay down. And $3,760.67 is the amount of interest you would pay if you made every single payment for 12 months, correct?
Yes.
So here's my question. If you're going to pay this loan down by $2,283.13, because we add up all the 180 and $190 payments, here's my question. Do you have to pay this $2,283? Do you have to pay it in 12 monthly installments? Or if you had it, could you pay it all at one time if you wanted to?
You can pay it at one time.
If you paid it all at one time, do you realize you'd be paid down to line 12 on your amortization schedule in just 1 month instead of over 12 months?
Oh, wow.
Did you realize that the $3,700 in interest that the bank wanted, they wouldn't get all that money? They would only get about $316 in interest to do the same thing.
Wow.
Instead of $3,760, they would only get $316.25 because you chose how much to give them and you chose the time in which to give it. By disrupting their timing makes it impossible for them to charge you all of that interest.
Okay.
So now we can do a little math and say, if we did this, let's figure out how much interest we're saving per dollar. And I'm going to put that on the screen. So I'm going to put on the screen here $3,760 and 67 cents. And we're going to pay it up front, the $2,283.13. So if we prepay this, we don't have to pay the interest. So if you take the interest savings and divide it by the amount of money that you paid, you can come up with how much interest you're saving per dollar. How about that?
Sounds good.
All right, so we're going to do this. We're going to divide that by, I'm going to click on divide, and we're going to put in $2,283.13 and equals 1.647. That would be $1.64, but because there's a 7 after it, then the bank would round that up to the next penny, or $1.65. So for every dollar you put on here, you save $1.65 in interest. How about that?
That's great.
So now that you know that we can break it down that far, now you can say, now, is there a way that I can save less or more per dollar by doing something different? Okay. Now that's just for 1 year. I'm going to scroll down to 2 years. So see, we can prepay any amount. You can prepay $1. You can prepay $10. You can prepay $100 or even $10,000. Okay. Anything you want if you had it.
Okay.
So if you gave me $1 and I gave you back $1.65. How many times would you do that?
Every time I could.
Do you realize the bank has to do the same thing? You give them $1 on principal, it makes it impossible for them to charge you $1.65. Now your dollar going to this extra money going to this loan takes on a whole new meaning, doesn't it?
Yes.
Folks, if you're new to this room, listen, we need to go ahead and do a quick reset. Would you mind if we take just a quick break, Miss Erica, and do a quick reset so we can invite some other people to share the room and come over and watch what we're doing for you? So let's go right ahead and do that. Jared?
Yes, yes, yes. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Pill Method Club, and also welcome to the new moderators. We got some amazing women in business in this Women in Business Club. We got Credit Goddess, we got Kenyatta, we got Sheila. I see Olivia, who I'm inviting to the stage. And what you're experiencing right now is how to pay off mortgages in 7 years. And if you want to see this live on your computer, your desktop, your laptop, or your iPad, you can go to ice10kvideos.com. Type that into your browser. It'll take you to the YouTube channel. Choose episode 92, and then and then you skip the commercial, and you're going to see Don live in the studio right now, so you can see the numbers that he's breaking down. And we also want you to share this room. So thank you to the 11 people that have shared the room so far. We appreciate the support. And what you're going to do is just go in between that chat box and that scissors. All right. You're going to go ahead and click that number 11, and you're going to click that invite people button, or you can click that share on Clubhouse button and share this room to as many people in your hallway as possible. And that way, more people can get this really valuable information, understand how they can save 75% of their lifetime interest cost. And also, your hallway's curated by who you follow. So make sure you click on Dawn, you click on Credit Goddess, Kenyatta, Sheila, and Olivia, and follow all of these amazing women. They host amazing rooms on Clubhouse, and your hallway is curated by who you follow. So if you want to see Don pop up in the best rooms, click that follow button, and then click that always next to the follow button, so that every time he pops on stage, you'll be alerted. All right. So it looks like the person that had the question has exited the stage, shortly. So what I like to do is have Credit Goddess, Kenyatta, and Sheila and Olivia introduce themselves. And this room is highly interactive. So if you have a question about your refinance, your mortgage, your car loan, your student loans, your credit card debt, anything around interest, please raise your hand while these ladies are introducing themselves so you can be first in the queue. We have about an hour left, and this room goes by really fast. So take advantage of this opportunity to get a free consultation by coming on stage and asking a question. We appreciate it. So I'm going to pass the mic to Credit Goddess so she can introduce herself.
Yes. Happy Monday, everyone. Happy Monday. My name is Rosalord Lewis, also known as Credit Goddess. I'm all things credit and the official credit expert for the P.I.L.L Method crew here. I'm a credit score improvement strategist. So not only do I help you repair, but I also help you rebuild your credit so that way you can be in the best position to gain access to other people's money. Also, a business credit consultant as well. So if you're an entrepreneur or business owner and have no idea that you can have established business credit, definitely tap in with me. My number is on the bio, 888-557-5778. Send your name and email address to that number, and a link will be sent to you where you can book your consultation with me. Don't be afraid. Go ahead and tap that link. Thank you. Next, Kenyatta.
Good morning, good people. My name is Kenyatta. You can find me at kenyatta10k.com. And I'm passionate about helping you reach your financial goals and create generational wealth. I do that by helping you locate a deal, finance that deal, cancel the interest on that deal so we can get you in yet another deal. So whether it's a fix and flip, you have a fleet of cars you want to purchase, or you want to fund your business with a capital injection, I'm your girl. Reach out to me and I will help you.
Hey, good morning, everyone. My name is Sheila, and I've been in the credit space over a decade now. I assist individuals with credit repair. I also help individuals start their very own credit repair businesses. You can find me on YouTube with She with the T, Also on Facebook, I have a community of over 17,000 individuals that I help with credit repair, and also on Instagram. You could also touch my bio for more information, and make sure you guys follow the greenhouse up top. And I appreciate you guys inviting me on stage. Thank you.
Awesome. Olivia, are you free to do a quick intro?
Yes, I am. Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well this Monday. My name is Olivia. I am a licensed New York realtor. By the end of this month, I'll be licensed in New Jersey. Yay me. So if you know anyone looking to purchase, sell, rent, or do any type of leasing commercial in New Jersey or New York, you can definitely reach out to me. You can also go to my 10K card, olivia10k.com. You'll be able to send me a message, text me, email me, and just to view my website as well. I do a few other things, but my main goal right now, my main focus is real estate. And yeah, that's it. Thanks so much for coming to this room. As always, make sure that you're following the club and following the moderators. Thank you.
Absolutely. And Don, since we finished with that example, if anybody in the audience wants to figure out the month, day, and year they can be debt free, please let them know how they can work with you and your team.
Absolutely. So as you can see at the top of the club, folks, you see ice10kreports.com. And for those of you that are streaming, you don't see it. So I'm just going to tell you, it's ICE, which stands for Interest Cancellation Expert, 10K, the number 10, the letter K, reports.com, ice10kreports.com. Click the link, and then you will see that will take you to our website. You can then follow all of the directions so that you can get the code so that you can enter into our financial form. Fill out the financial form. Someone from our team will contact you and set up a consultation. Then you can know the month, day, and year you'll be debt free and how much interest you can save. And it's usually within a 7 to 9 year window. That's not just for your mortgage. That's for your mortgages, put in your student loans, your credit cards, your car loans. The average family has 13 different debts. If they put it all in, they're usually done in an average of 7 to 9 years, and you can live well while you're doing it, because our focus is not on how fast to pay down the loans. Our focus is on how cheaply we can pay down the loans by cutting out that interest cost. And therefore, all of the sacrificing is done on the bank side and not your side. Oh my gosh, I absolutely love doing that. So families can live well, enjoy life, and retire that debt in an average of 7 to 9 years. I can't wait for the next questions.
Awesome. So we got Samuel who raised his hand and come on the stage. So Samuel, please unmic and let us know what your question is. There you go.
You're really low, Samuel. For some reason, can't hear you. Do you have like a Bluetooth on? If you do, please take it off and then try it again.
All right. Yeah, if you just click that mute button.
This any better?
Way better.
A little better. Yep.
Anyway, it was a question on the car loan. So the car loan I have right now is about $6,200 on it, and my interest rate is 3.2. About how long would that take me to pay off, based on what you're saying?
Well, it all depends. See, this is something that we get this idea from a guy in Tennessee that everybody does the same thing. And that's not true. Your situation is different from your neighbor's situation. So how much money you have to work with is different. Wouldn't you say?
That's right. Everybody's different. Sure.
And then what you would need is it would be impossible to tell you based on that. I would need to know how much money you're making. Now, let's just say that you make $5,000 a month, and all of your bills, including your car payment, comes to $5,000 a month. Okay?
Yeah.
So there's no extra money. There's nothing to put in savings. All right. So is there a way that we could attack the debt that way if there's nothing that we could actually store up to put in savings? There's no way we could attack that debt, is there?
Not if you have zero.
Exactly. So the more money you have at the end of the month means is determines how quickly we can retire that debt. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Okay. So, but I can tell you something, even if you have no money. How would you like to know how you can use your current car payment to pay off faster and to pay less interest with just the minimum payment? How would you like to know that?
That'd be great.
Okay. So here's the thing. With a car payment, you are charged interest daily on that car payment. So every day they add a little bit more interest. By the end of the month, then you know how much money goes to principal when you make your payment and how much money goes to interest when you make your payment at the end of the month. And when you make that payment, you lower the amount that you owe. So the next month, your interest calculation is going to be a little bit less, and more of your payment goes to principal, the amount of money that you borrowed. Does that make sense to you, Samuel? If you're speaking, we can't hear you.
Yes.
Okay, great. So the whole idea is, how can we lower the amount of interest that you pay? This does not work on a mortgage, but it will work on a car payment if your bank or credit union can accept the payments in the manner I'm going to suggest. Now, this is how I knew interest cancellation actually worked. We had a car payment years ago of about $400 a month, my wife and I. And I discovered that if I paid $100 a week instead of $400 a month, I would still give them $400 every month. But by giving them $100 a week made it impossible for them to charge me 1 month's worth of daily interest on the unpaid balance, because I'm bringing the balance down throughout the month. So I'm lowering the amount of interest that they can possibly charge me. So more of my $400 would go to principal, would actually go to the loan, and less would go to interest because I paid them weekly instead of monthly. Samuel, does that make sense to you?
Yes.
So every month, guess what? Every month, I would get further and further ahead. And they would tell me, they would send me a message. They would send me my next bill in the mail. Said, Don, you don't owe us $400. You owe us something less than $400. But I didn't fall for the trick. What they were trying to do is get me to pay less money so that they can recoup the interest I just saved. You follow me? So by doing that, we actually paid that car off about 2 years early just by making the minimum payment, but we made it monthly instead of, we made it weekly, $100 a week instead of $400 a month, saved a bunch of interest and paid the car off sooner. What do you think, Samuel? Is that helpful?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I've actually experienced it a little bit just playing with it. I hadn't even ever heard of this method, but I have thinking about it. I've tried it in the past, and you'll watch your balance go down so much faster.
Yes, because out of your money, less money goes to interest and more money goes to the principal, which, that's why you got the loan anyway, to pay it off. Why not pay it off early and save money with your current budget? Now, that's not exactly how our program works, but that's something you can use right now, today, to start saving yourself some money. And folks, if you want to save additional money, if you want to save the most amount of money that's possible, then you want to do this. You want to go to ICE10K report ice10kreports.com, ice10kreports.com, and fill out a savings and earnings report. And you can know the month, day, and year you could be debt free, usually within a 7 to 9 year window. And you can now also know exactly how much interest you're going to save. And then we can talk to you about how you can take those interest savings and develop your own family bank with those interest savings and start creating generational wealth with the money that formerly went to the bank. You know, just recently, 2 weeks ago, I had the distinct pleasure of inviting Dr. Eric Thomas, E.T., the hip hop preacher, to speak at our Mindset Series conference. And so he came and he blew everybody away with his presentation. And if you know who Eric Thomas is, go ahead and raise your hand, put a 1 in the chat, flash your mics, do whatever you got if you know who Dr. Eric Thomas is. Okay, so listen, here's what we found out, and that everybody was so surprised to hear, that Eric Thomas used the P.I.L.L method to pay off his mortgage in 4 years. And folks, we actually brought you a clip from 2 weeks ago so that you can actually see and hear it. So if you're interested in seeing Dr. Eric Thomas at our event 2 weeks ago, go ahead and go to ice10kvideos.com so you can see it. If you're on Clubhouse, listen closely because we're getting ready to play it now. Let's roll the tape.
Listen to me, y'all. I didn't even know he was responsible. But one of his mentees, probably about 4 years ago, maybe, took us through one of their programs, and I paid off my mortgage. But guess what happened? My marriage went to a whole nother level. And you know why? Because my wife is a security freak. And even when I blew up, my wife would be like, "Oh, you blew up, but how long is you gonna keep making this kind of money?" I was like, "I don't know, forever." She's like, "You sure?" Because I'm gonna keep my license as a nurse just in case you don't. And so when I paid the house off, my boy was like, "You ain't gotta do that, you can do this." But when I paid the house off using that program, it took the stress level all the way down for my wife because we no longer had a mortgage. Does that make sense? That thing that was coming every month, that was getting on her nerves, we didn't have that no more. And so she was at rest. Do me a favor, take these principles and use them. Make the rest of your life the best of your life. I love you guys. Take care.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am so excited about our program and what it has done for people over the last 16 years. I'm even more excited now that Dr. Eric Thomas has said he uses this very same program to pay off his mortgage in 4 years. I got Mr. 10K Lashley. 10K, Sean Lashley, are you in the building? Listen, man, talk to us about what does that mean that Dr. Eric Thomas, the #1 motivational speaker in the entire world, uses the P.I.L.L method to pay off his mortgage in 4 years?
And one of the most touching things that I heard Dr. Eric Thomas said at the event was that the relationship between him and his wife got better after he paid off his mortgage using the P.I.L.L method. Because reality of the situation is when you have these constant expenses coming in, it puts a strain on you and your family. So if you can eliminate these payments as soon as possible, why not go for it? So I would say to everyone that's on stage and in the audience and anyone that can actually hear this message, if you can pay off mortgage in 7 years instead of 30, I would say take action on it today, guys. If it's not for you, guess what? It's for someone else, you know. Take action, spread the message, get involved. Back to you, Don.
Listen, folks, if you would just check out my PTR, go ahead and click on that. You see that Dr. Eric Thomas and myself, we're standing in front of our P.I.L.L method banner, pointing to the future. What's your future? Is your future going to be in debt forever? Or is your future going to mean that you can take control of your finances, pay a lot less interest, and then take that interest savings and invest that money into creating generational wealth. Do you realize that people who have been doing this for the last 16 years, do you know we have hundreds and even thousands of people who have paid off their mortgages and paid off all of their debt, including their student loans? That we have people that are investing that money that they would have paid in interest. They're investing that money into their future, and compound interest is making them millionaires on their W-2 jobs. Okay. Millionaires using money that formerly went to the bank, and they're investing that money into their families instead of making someone else rich. I'm telling you, folks, this is the best thing I've ever done in my life. I am dedicated my life to making sure other people know how banking actually works, and that you don't have to pay all of that interest. And, we even have a talk entitled, Stop Spending Your Children's Inheritance on Interest. Take that money and invest it in your family. So, folks, listen, I want to thank you so very much for being here today. And are there any more questions about what you've just learned today about lending? Now, I'm getting ready. If there are no more questions, at least for a minute, I'd like, if you're watching this, I started out with a particular loan on the screen, and I'm going to show how a mortgage at 5.5% is actually easier to pay off than a mortgage at 2.99%. So you don't have to be afraid of these high interest rates, because listen, folks, we're making decisions based on feeling and not on math. It just feels wrong to pay 5.5. It feels worse than 2.99. Because everything that we've been told is geared towards getting the lowest interest rate possible, when in fact, the lowest interest rate possible costs you more money in the long run. If it didn't, banks wouldn't offer it. They wouldn't offer you a way to pay them money. I think we went over something a little earlier where this young lady was going to save about $200 a month on her mortgage. I'm going to put that on the screen right now. We're going to clear that out. She's going to save by paying $13,000 extra dollars. $13,000 extra dollars. She was going to save $200 a month. Now, I want you to tell me if this is a good business deal for the bank. All right? Because we don't stop to think about it. We just look at, oh, I'm going to save $200 a month. Well, the loan is for 360 payments. And do you know how I know that for most people, they're going to pay all 360 payments? Because on the national average, 9 out of 10 people not just across the board, but 9 out of 10 people will never pay off a mortgage. Never. Why? Because of refinancing. Why? Because of other things. I bought a small house, and now our family is growing. And so when our family grows, what do? We get a brand new 30-year mortgage. When we need to cash out to purchase something else or to pay off some bills, we refinance to another 30-year mortgage. When we want to take money out of our equity so that we could pay for college for kids, what do? We refinance to get a new 30-year mortgage. And every time we do that, we just keep extending it and kicking the can down the road until we finally refinance one last time to downsize our home at age 60, and we get a brand new 30-year loan at age 60, 65. So folks, 9 out of 10 people will never pay off a mortgage. Now watch this. I have on the screen this $200 savings, and it's a 360 month loan. So that would be $200 times 360, right? So we're going to multiply this by 360 payments. It equals $72,000. Now, The bank just offered this family a $200 savings per month, which means over 360 months, the bank is going to lose $72,000. But they're only charging them $13,000 to lower the interest rate. So the bank can lose $72,000. Is there anybody in this room right now that says, why in the world would anybody do that? I got to listen. Coffee Brown just came in. Listen, bring her up on the stage because she didn't get to hear this yesterday. I want her to hear it today. Miss Coffee Brown, can you come on up? Miss Coffee, how are you doing today?
I am exceptional. Good morning, everybody.
Listen, you seem to be blown away with the information that we gave yesterday.
You know what, Don? I missed the church services on yesterday. It was Pentecost Sunday, so I missed it.
Oh, you did? Okay, but I guess it was Friday then.
It was Friday.
It was Friday. Listen, I got something new for you. Are you ready?
I stay ready, Don.
All right. So you know how you can pay for points and buy down the interest rate, correct?
Correct.
So a young lady came to the stage this morning, and she said her bank offered her the opportunity to on her $500,000 loan pay about $13,000 to lower the interest rate to the point where it's going to save her about $200 a month on her payments. Have you heard of anything like that before?
I have.
Okay, now here's the thing. All right. Now they're charging her $13,000, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now the $200,000. So she's going to lower her payment by $200, and it's a 30-year loan. Okay. So since it's a 30-year loan, that would be $200 savings times 360 payments, wouldn't it?
That is correct.
Did you realize that comes to $72,000?
Okay.
Why would a bank charge you $13,000 so that they can lose $72,000?
Lord, Don, you starting already. That don't make sense.
It doesn't make sense, does it?
No, sir.
So we have to find out what's in it for them.
Oh my God, Don.
All we have to do is ask a few good questions, Coffee, and then do a little bit of math. And we would say, listen, there's got to be something wrong with this story if they're going to charge me $13,000 so I can save $72,000.
Yeah, so they did that to me when I bought my house, but I declined it because I knew something wasn't right.
Okay. So you did listen, you know how your gut just says, I don't know what it is. I just know it. That ain't it.
Yes, sir. That's a fact.
Okay. All right. So listen, what we have on here, folks, until we get the next question, I have on here a mortgage of $500,000 at 5.5%. And I need to show you this, that the principal payment is they start out at about 547, 549, but they're in the $550 range. Okay. We also learned earlier that if we prepay one of these principal payments, we eliminate the interest on that line and we eliminate that payment from the schedule. So if I'm on payment number 1, I can prepay the principal on payment number 2. I can prepay that early in the same month, and it saves me $2,289 in interest on this particular loan. If you want to see what I'm talking about, go to ice10kvideos.com. It's in the chat, ice10kvideos.com, and you can see what we're doing, folks, because this is enormous. I'm getting ready to show you why the bank lowers your interest rate. And not only that, they charge us for the privilege of keeping us in debt longer when we, in fact, think we're making a good business deal. You need to view this right now. So come on in, ice10kvideos.com. That would take you to my YouTube channel, and I'm going to show you this. So again, remember, if we prepay the $549, the principal payments, we save $2,200 and we eliminate one line from our schedule. Okay. Now, check this out. If we look at cumulative principal and cumulative interest on this same loan, all right, and if we look at 1 year's worth of principal payments, we would find out that if you add up all those $550 payments, it would come to $6,735.52. Now, we also discovered that if we had the money available, we don't have to pay the $6,700 in 12 monthly installments. But if we had it, we could choose to prepay that money up front and pay off 1 year's worth of principal in just 1 month. And look at the interest savings. Almost $27,000 in interest saved if we prepay that money. Look at that. Knocking off 1 year. Now that is at 5.5%. I need you to see what would happen if we prepay $6,700 at a low 2.99%. Do you know, Miss Coffee, and everybody else on stage, that there's folks that are hoping and wishing that we can get back to the 2.99% interest cost, the interest rate? Oh no, we don't want that. Let me show you why. So I'm going to put the same loan on at 2.99. Wait till it. I'm watching it here on YouTube myself. I see that it has changed over, and you can see that it is $500,000 at 2.99%. But take a look at the principal payments now. When you lower the interest rate, you increase the principal payments, and we went from $550 payments to $850 and $60 payments. So by lowering the interest rate, we increase the principal payment, and it's the principal payment we use to attack these loans. All right. So now we have to come up with about $300 more per month to knock out 1 month if we're going to prepay one whole month. Watch this. So remember, we prepaid $6,700 and knocked off 12 months. Let me show you what $6,700 does on this loan at 2.99, somewhere between 7 and 8 months. The same amount of money prepaid at the 5.5% interest rate wipes out a whole year worth of payments. The same amount of money prepaid to this loan only knocks out 6 to 7 months. Ladies and gentlemen, the people who own your bank and mortgage company know this to be true. The people that work there don't know this to be true because they treat their mortgages the exact same way. This is why they offer it to you with such confidence and with such enthusiasm, because they're making the same decisions for themselves because they've been taught this is the right thing to do. And I'm trying to tell you right now that when my friendly neighborhood bank, now I love the bank. I am not anti-bank. I love the bank because I have mortgages. I have more than one mortgage, but I've learned how to borrow my money at a discount. I love discount shopping. I don't want to pay retail for anything, especially my money. So if I can borrow money at a discount, if I can get my money at wholesale, then that means that's extra interest that I don't have to pay and that I can acquire the same asset for a lot less money. Because at the 5 point, now if I had a choice, I said, Don, I'm going to give you a choice. I'm going to give you two choices here. You can have the 2.99% interest rate, or you can have the 5.5% interest rate. Only two choices, but you can afford both payments. If I can afford both payments, folks, I'm taking the 5.5% interest rate all day long. And I can show you how it's going to save you a ton of money and cut your interest cost by a ton based on the amount of money you have to work with. You know, I once talked to a guy at AIG. He was the branch manager at AIG. I'm not going to tell you where. And when I taught this to the branch manager at AIG, when he was qualifying for his loan, they offered him, because he gets bonuses, I taught him that his bonuses can work great for him in knocking down interest and his payments. So when he qualified for his loan at that time, was years ago, he qualified for 3.8%, 3.8%, which was excellent at the time. But he asked them for 4.125. They were shocked. They were shocked because he had all worked it out. It says, no, I don't want the 3.8 you're offering me. I want 4.125 because of my bonuses. It's actually, and prepaying with those bonuses, I was going to save way more money in interest and pay off my loan much faster at the 4.125 than the 3.8 they were offering him. And this is a financial expert. Prior to that meeting, he would have taken the 3.8 all day long. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm just so excited to give this information out to anybody who is willing to listen. Jared, back to you, sir, while I get a drink of water.
All right, all right. Yeah, you definitely deserve it, man. You're working hard to provide value. We appreciate you. And we have some new moderators on the stage that I want to just give a quick chance to introduce themselves. And then we got Rosie up here with a question. So again, don't be shy. Feel free to raise your hand, come on stage and ask a question. Be like Rosie and get some amazing information. So actually, 10K, I think you kind of introduced yourself, but not really. So I would love for you to introduce yourself. Then we'll go Coffee and Katie. So 10K, please. All right, 10K might be away from the phone. Coffee, are you free to do a quick intro?
I am. Good morning, everybody. So excited to be in the building with Don and this phenomenal information that is life transformative. Guys, if you have not joined the movement, click on that green mansion at the top of your screen and become a part of the family so that you can have access when Don goes live each and every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday to be able to add value to you and your family. I am in the great state of Texas by way of Houston. I am a publisher and I also own a online boutique, both of which are accessible through my Coffee 10K card. If you want to know more details about what I do, how it can add value to you, and how we can collaborate, you can definitely go to coffee10k.com. That is with 1K, 1E, to learn more information, and I'll be more than happy to respond to you when my time permits. I yield the mic back to Jared and Don. Thank you so much for all that you do to help us save.
Awesome. So I want to pass the mic to another phenomenal woman in business. Katie, please introduce yourself to the audience.
Hello, it's Katie. Thank you so much for having me, Ice, Jarrett, and all the amazing moderators and speakers. Really grateful to be here and pick up all this amazing value. I'm just about to share this to the hallway, and I really hope everyone else does as well. And please ping in your friends. Please feel free to come up, ask questions, anything that you want, because I'm just really grateful to have this space and have so much knowledge dropped on us by Ice and everyone else. Just very briefly, my name's Katie. I am a scientist, marine biologist, shark scientist, and geneticist. And I'm really, really passionate about women in business and women in science. Been a long time member and fan of the Women in Business Club, and just grateful to be here. Thank you so much. I'll pass it back to you guys.
Listen, before I think we have somebody else that wants to come up now. But Coffee, before we get to before we get to Rosie, so she can ask her question, I'm going to be in Houston in a couple of weeks on the 16th. I'll be there from the 16th through the 21st. So we got to get together.
Absolutely. Most definitely. Would love that. That'll be a blessing.
So I want to my wife will be with me. I want to introduce you to her, and so we could sit down and talk more about saving and how you can advance this cause. And I love the way you termed it as a movement. So we can get this movement going all over the country. In fact, we're in 9 different countries right now. But Coffee, it'd be the first time I've been to Houston in my entire life, and I would deem it a pleasure to be able to meet you in person.
Yes, sir. It would be an honor. Absolutely.
Back to you, Jared.
All right. So, Rosie, thank you so much for coming to the stage. Please unmic and let us know what your question is.
Good morning, everybody. How's everybody today?
Excellent, Miss Rosie.
Doing great.
Thank you. Good. So I have 2 questions. First of all, to know what is the pros and cons of paying mortgage, and the second question is because I just got in the club like recently, and I hear like what Ice was talking, but I hear only the last part when he said that it's better to take a higher interest mortgage versus a lower, and I didn't quite understand the reasons why. And if you guys can explain that to me a little bit more, that I will appreciate it.
Rosie, I would be glad to do that. Listen, are you able to see a separate screen on a separate device like your computer or your tablet? Can you see our examples?
Not at the moment. I'm just with my phone right now.
That's going to be, it's difficult to explain, but it's very easy to see. Now, we do have, I can tell you this, we're on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, and LinkedIn. It's being live streamed to those channels right now, and you can see the replay. I can do my best to kind of paint a word picture for you, but you really do want to see the replay when you have the opportunity. How's that, Miss Rosie?
I will.
Okay, so here's what we were talking about. I've got 2 mortgages on the screen, okay? And with one mortgage, it's $500,000, okay? This $500,000, the interest rate is 5.5%. And when we make the very first payment, $547 goes to principal and $2,291 goes to interest. You follow me so far?
Yes.
Now, when you make that payment, let's say we make that payment this month, and I'm going to be teaching you something that most people don't know. We make the payment this month, and I'm looking at the schedule. I can see next month's principal payment. Next month's principal payment is $549.79. That's what I'm looking at on my screen. Here's my question. Do I have to wait till next month to give the bank $549.79?
Not necessarily, right?
That's right. If I have it, I could give it to them this month, can't I?
Exactly.
And all of that money goes to principal. I'm actually paid down to line 2 on my amortization schedule, not just line 1, because I gave them the principal payment early. So by doing that, I eliminate 1 line from my amortization schedule immediately. And the interest that I would have paid on that line of $2,289.16 is saved, and I never have to pay that. My overall interest cost went down by over $2,200. And most people don't know that about their amortization schedule. Okay?
Okay, I got you. Yeah, I understand that. Yes.
So for $549, I can get rid of 1 payment. Now, let's add it up for 1 year. I'm going to add up all the principal payments for 1 year and all the interest payments for 1 year. And the principal payments for 1 year, if I make my minimum payment just like the bank wants me to, I will pay the loan down by $6,735. But the interest the bank would want me to pay is a whopping $27,331. What do you think about that?
Yes, I understand that.
Okay.
Yes.
I understand, but I'm not only answering it for you, I'm answering for everybody who's in the room as well, Miss Rosie. That's why I'm going so slow.
Got you.
Okay. All right. So if I do that, so now what if I were to prepay the $6,735? Not, I can pay it all at once instead of over 12 months. If I paid it at once, I would be paid down to line 12 on my amortization schedule at one time at 5.5%. And the interest I would save would be $25,000 in interest saved. Follow me so far? Now, if I go to the 2.99% interest rate on the same loan, my principal payments are no longer $550. They start out at $859. So, Miss Rosie, to eliminate one line from my amortization schedule doesn't take $550 now. It takes $861.63 to eliminate one line from my amortization schedule at 2.99%. So is it easier to eliminate one line from the amortization schedule with $550 or $861? Does it make sense? Are you following me, Miss Rosie? Does that make sense to you?
Yes, it makes a lot of sense to me.
So now the same $6,700 that would knock out 12 months worth of payments at 5.5% interest rate only removes between 7 and 8 payments at 2.99%. You see, when we are given these choices between the two interest rates, we're giving the choice this way. If you have a 30-year loan, that's 360 payments, your total interest cost at 2.99 is $257,000. So they're giving us information based on the entire term of the loan. Well, of course, if I'm looking at the entire term of the loan, my interest rate is going to be better if I make every single one of those 360 payments. So, but at 5.5% interest, my interest cost for 30 years is over $500,000. It's 522,000. So if I compare two 30-year loans, the 2.99% interest rate wins hands down. But if I'm trying to pay the loan off in 7 to 9 years, then I want the slightly higher interest rate because it lends itself better to accelerate the payoff and interest savings on this loan because my principal payments are smaller. So if I want to pay every single payment, yeah, give me the lowest interest rate. But if I want to accelerate the loan, give me a loan where I can make the most out of the money that I have available. And so I want to control the principal payment and keep them smaller. In fact, so does that make sense, Miss Rosie?
Yes, it does. Yes, yes.
So based on the information that we've just learned, did you know just a few years ago? Now this was before you were born, Miss Rosie. Before you were born, did you know that did you hear about the fact that interest rates were somewhere between 12 and 18% on mortgages?
No.
Oh, yeah. You're real young. Congratulations. So I'm old. So I remember.
I don't think it's that. I think I was young, so I didn't have that. I didn't have my mind in that. I wasn't thinking about that yet.
Yes. So here's what we're talking about. I'm going to let's go back just a few years ago, folks, when you can get a loan for $60,000. Okay, a mortgage for $60,000 at 12% interest rate. or 360 payments. Everybody in the room, everybody in here needs to see this. We got about 12 people online. If you're new, I want to show you how this could have been handled years ago, even at 12 and 18% interest rates on these mortgages that we had just a few years ago in the 60s and 70s, and sometimes and into the early 80s. Okay, 12 to 18%. You want to go to ice10klive.com, ice10klive.com, and we're going to show you what a $60,000 mortgage looked like back then at 12%. All right, so I'm going to do the calculation now. And the payment on this loan, is $617.17. $617.17. Watch this.
Quick correction. ice10kvideos.com.
What did I say?
ice10k live.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No worries. And if you want the directions, you can find them in the chat. ice10kvideos.com. Go to episode number 92. It'll have a live icon on the square, and then you just skip the commercial and you'll see it live on your screen. Back to you, Don.
I'm so sorry, everybody. I just get so excited when I get a chance to share this information that nobody knows. Oh my gosh. I mean, it's just like fire shut up in my bones. That's what the Bible says. Anyway, I just need to give it out. All right. So I got $60,000 at 12%. The payment is $617.17. I want to show you something. On a $60,000 loan for 30 years, if we kept it for 30 years, the bank wants $162,000 in interest. Oh my gosh. Total interest paid as a percentage of principal, 270.302%. But guess what? You don't have to pay all of that. I want to show you something, ladies and gentlemen. Look at these tiny principal payments. I need you to really focus in on this. How tiny the principal payments are and how huge the interest payments are in comparison. Based on what we learned today, are you discouraged by looking at this loan, or are you encouraged by looking at a loan where you have principal payments of $17 a month? I need a little help here. I need somebody to help me on this. So, folks, if we make this very first payment on schedule and we prepay the principal payment on next month, which would be $17.34, we get rid of month 2 for $17.34. We can get rid of 2 payments for about $34 extra. Oh my gosh. If you look at cumulative principal for the entire year, it would be $217. Okay? What if somebody had an extra $217 back then? They would have prepaid that and knocked off a year worth of principal and saved about $7,000 in interest they never would have to pay. Listen, we got somebody. Listen, do we have some comments in the chat? Because I do have a couple of comments online. I want to go over them. And one of them says, Arden says here from YouTube, I bought the book, got an email, and responded. And all right, say they love the information. Okay. So Arden, I'm not quite sure what you mean, but give me a little bit more information on that. You can go to don10k.com and contact my office so we can get exactly what you're talking about. Go to don10k.com, contact our office so that you can explain to us what it is that you're looking for. But I'm glad you love the information. And here's Violet from Facebook. She says, I would need to inform the bank that I'm paying the principal of my mortgage before the month. Okay, here's what you need to do. In most cases, you do need to inform the bank in the way that they want to be informed. Every bank has their own rules. And in these days, the bank online has a line there that says for principal payments only. So you can actually put your principal payment on that line and send that in. And the bank will accept it as that. And because that is how they choose to be informed. Now, if for some reason your bank doesn't have a system like that, just give them a call and find out, how do I make a principal prepayment? Just ask them. They'll tell you exactly how they want it done. And please follow their directions and you'll be fine. All right. So listen, I'm just so excited about this. Jared, do we have any questions in the chat that we can handle?
No questions in the chat, just comments. But we do have Dr. Adrian, life coach, on stage, and then Rosie. Were we able to, complete your question?
Yes, there was one question, and I had a second question. My second question was, can you give us the pros and cons of paying off a mortgage?
Okay. Pros and cons of paying off a mortgage. All right. You mean paying it off early?
Yes.
Okay. So the pros are, you want to save the maximum amount of interest possible, but there are some cons. Can you give me any idea of what you think a downside of paying off the mortgage faster would be, Ms. Rosie?
Taxes. I don't taxes probably.
Okay. And I've heard that before. Okay. So here's the thing. Here's what I understand. And when I do a presentation, I do it this way. I have $1 in one hand. I have 27 cents in the other. Okay. I have to pay $1 in interest to get 27 to 50 cents break on my taxes. I have to pay $1 in interest to get a break on my taxes. And it's not for all the interest that I pay, I'm not going to get it dollar for dollar. You see what I mean? I get a percentage back. So the bank doesn't lose on that deal. I got to pay $1 in interest so the government can give me a percentage of that money back as a tax break. Now keep this in mind. If I pay the loan off early, guess what? I lose the tax break, but I get to keep the dollar to invest any way that I want. So keeping a mortgage around for the tax break, not really that beneficial. But guess what? Every year you have the mortgage and you can qualify for the tax break, take it. Every year you have the mortgage. But with us, you're not going to have it for 30 years. You're only going to have it for 7 to 9 years. Now, on this other loan that we had here, this is what I want to show you here. This is going to be important. On this loan, these days at 5.5%, if somebody were to subscribe to that idea of taxes, keeping it at 5.5%, if they're going to pay back, if they borrow $500,000, look how much interest they would have to pay over 30 years. $502,022. Their total purchase price on this loan is $1,022,000. So, folks, is it worth paying $500,000 in interest just so that I can get a few bucks back on my taxes? That's kind of how we have to look at it. But while I have the mortgage, I definitely want to take advantage of all the tax breaks I can. And then when I pay off the mortgage, then I can keep that interest money and invest it somewhere else where it can make me more money than the interest I could save on my taxes. So that's kind of how we have to take a look at it. But there is another downside, Ms. Rosie. There is a real downside to paying off the mortgage, and I can give it to you. Are you ready to hear it?
Yes, they are.
All right. So I have a young couple here in Huntsville, Alabama. He's an engineer. Okay. And so he's making more money now than he was when I first met him. So in my program, which is a cloud-based computing program, it's artificially intelligent. And with the extra money he's making now, he's able to pay off the $260,000 left on his mortgage. He's able to pay it off in 3.5 years. He's only going to pay $16,000 in interest because of our program. He was surprised to find out that I told him, you're paying the mortgage off too fast and you're not paying enough interest. He says, I thought that was the idea. I said, listen, our program wants you to get the maximum amount of savings per dollar, but not lose other opportunities to invest your money. He says, what do you mean by that? So here's what I said. Because it's a computer program, let's just tell the program you're making $2,000 less per month. Okay. When we take the $2,000 out and say that he's making $2,000 less, the program recalculated and said, now the readings give us that he's going to be out of debt in 6.5 years instead of 3.5. He's going to pay $20,000 in interest instead of just the 16. He's still going to have significant interest savings. Okay. Now he says, now, Don, why is that better? I got to pay more interest and I got to be in debt longer. Why would I ever do that? I said, now let's take a look at the whole picture. For you to get out of debt in 3.5 years, that means we have to put that $2,000 a month back into your budget for the purposes of debt reduction. Meaning, let's see, 3.5 years, that's 3 years, that's 36 months, plus another half year, that's another 6 months, 36 plus 6, that's 42 months. So we have to put that $2,000 a month back into your budget for the next 42 months for you to get out of debt in 3.5 years. So when we add it all up, 42 times 2,000, that's $84,000 going into debt reduction. So he could lower his interest payments from 20,000 down to 16,000, meaning $84,000 of his hard-earned money going into debt reduction. So he can save $4,000 in interest he doesn't have to pay the bank. Miss Rosie, do you think he wanted to spend his money that way once we broke it down for him that way? So there is a downside to paying too much at the wrong time. We're going to help you to figure out what is the right amount to pay towards debt reduction. And then any more money after that, you start to violate what's called the law of diminished return. The more you put in, the less you get out. So you want to stop at a certain point and take that money and invest it in a new investment. So what did he decide to do? This is what he decided to do. Build a new $700,000 house instead. Put a renter in his old house. And all that extra money he wanted to pay can now go toward his new house of $700,000 and save him a ton of interest. And he's going to pay, and by putting a renter in the old house, he'll be able to pay off everything, both houses, in 10 years. That's how we take a look at that. So there is a downside to paying too much at the wrong time. I hope that answers your question, Miss Rosie.
Yes. And I love the $1.20.
How about that?
It made a lot of sense. I wish somebody had told me that this much. I appreciate it.
You're so welcome. You're so welcome. Folks, you can learn a lot of this information from my book, which you can find on Amazon, The P.I.L.L Method, A Better Way to Eliminate Debt. You can go to my 10K card, and it's at ice10k.com. Click on the link that will take you to the book, and then you will be able to get that book and start to understand these principles. It's the only book on Amazon that talks about what we're learning today. Jared, back to you, sir.
All right. So I see we got one more question on the stage, and then I'll close this out. Dr. Adrian, life coach, thank you for coming up and thanks for your patience. Please let us know what your question is.
Yes, thank you for inviting me to the stage. Thank you, Don. This is my first time in the club. I did my homework on my computer before I got on, so I have some numbers for you. And while I was listening, I think I made a boo boo, but I refinanced my house to roll my student loan into it. And so it's a home equity loan of 241,000 at 3.19%. And I've been paying adding about $300 in advance of in addition towards the principal. I don't know if you want to hear this also. My car note, I got it during COVID in 2020, and I paid off more than half. It's down to $10,275. It's $700 a month at 2.19%, and I've been paying extra on that to get that down. I don't know if there's any other information that would be that you need from me.
I can ask you some questions.
Sure.
So I've got your car loan in here. You said it's $700 a month, and you says it's 2.1%.
2.19.
2.19. Okay. And the original term, was it 60 months, 72 months, 84 months?
It was originally, I think it was, I'm actually on my computer now looking. I think it was 72.
Okay, great. Okay. So at 72 months, here's what I need you to see. All right. I'm getting starting out about $47,000. Does that sound about right?
No, the original was 23.
Okay, I'll put in 23,000 at 2.19. That gives us at $700 a month. That gives us 34 months. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So now here's what I need to show you on this. The reason why it is important to know your interest costs on the loan, not just the interest rate, because when you take a look at this loan at 34 months, the total interest you're going to pay on this loan is $741. If you made every single payment, it would be $741. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm going to put in the $700. Watch this. I'll put in the $700 at 2.19. Okay. And I'm going to put in 72 months. So even at 72 months, on a loan that was $47,000, the total interest cost on this loan is $3,211.17. All right, you follow that so far?
Yeah.
So if you pay that loan off early, all you could save is a portion of the $3,211. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I have one major piece of information that I guess maybe I'm nervous, but I have prepaid to the point where my next payment is due in April of 2023.
That we get. We understand that if you pay ahead on a car note, you don't have to pay. They'll let you know that you don't have to pay them, but don't fall for that. Keep paying it. Okay. So here's what I'm getting at. When you pay off a loan, this is the question I need to ask. If all of your loans were 0% interest, would there be any financial benefit to you to pay them off early?
No.
Okay. So the reason why we pay the loans off early is not to pay the loans off early, it's to save on the interest. Right?
Right.
So if the total amount of interest is only $3,200, then if I paid the whole loan off the next day, I would save $3,200 in interest, correct?
Right.
But during the time, but if I'm just paying it a little bit every month, I will save some interest, but I will only save a portion of the $3,200 in interest. Now, I got that on the screen. Let's put your mortgage on the screen as well. So give me a little information on the mortgage. Do you have the original amount of the mortgage, or even anywhere close? The original amount of your mortgage. You were saying this was you took out a loan for your 200, was that 241,000?
I took out the loan. I refied
Mm-hmm.
my house to roll the student loan in.
Okay, I'm going to take this.
Mortgage.
Okay, I'll take this slow so we can kind of count why the bank does this. Why mortgage companies will have you roll in high interest loans into your mortgage. Okay, so 241,000 is your new loan amount, correct?
The new loan amount was 255,000,
Two-
and it's now.
Okay, I just need this amount of information. So the new loan started out at 255,000.
Yes.
255,000. Great. Okay, 255,000 at 3.99.
3.19.
3.19. Sorry. Okay, 3.19. And is it a 360-month loan or 30 years?
It was 18 or 20 years.
Okay, so I'm going to put in 240 months, okay, for 20 years, which gives me a payment of $1,438.60. What's your payment?
My payment is 17. Wait, I'm back on my.
Okay. And I'm talking about the minimum payment that the bank is asking for.
Okay, it's next payment due is 1144 and 54 cents.
But is that your regular minimum payment, or is that adjusted because of the amount you're paying extra?
That is no, because what they do is they take it's just the 1144.
So it's 1144 is your payment. Okay. So that would actually mean that your original term was 338, right around there. 338 payments. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Now, your total interest cost on this loan is $131,000. So if you pay this loan off early, you're going to save a bigger chunk of money than by paying off the car early. So let me give you an example. All right. On your car, all right, if you prepay, let me see here. Let me find the car. And all right, we're going to find that car payment. All right. So $615 would go to principal, $85 would go to interest on your car payment. You follow so far?
Yes.
So you would have to prepay $615 to save $85 in interest. Well, $85 is nothing to sneeze at, right? But $85 is $85. All right. But on your mortgage, okay, if you prepay $467, it saves you $600 in interest. So let me ask you, are you saving more interest if you focus on the mortgage than if you focus on the car loan?
No more. It's best to focus on the mortgage.
Okay, because the reason why we pay is to save on interest, isn't it?
Correct.
So here's the next thing. Do you remember the interest rates on your student loans?
It
Range from,
think
just give me a good guess.
my interest. I think it was about 5%.
Okay, so if the interest rates were 5% or more, by rolling them into a loan at 3.19, we're taught that we're better off taking those 5% loans and putting it into this 3.19% loan. Correct, doctor?
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
So the total amount of loans that you rolled into this mortgage, can you give me a rough estimate of how much you rolled into your mortgage with the student loans? How much were your student loans?
My student loans were 155. It was almost.
Oh, you can round it off. You can round it off for us, doctor. It doesn't have to be exact for my example.
Okay, 200K.
About 200K. Okay. So here's what we're doing. So out of the 255, 200 of it is student loans.
Right.
Okay. So now to pay off by rolling it into the mortgage this way, okay, I'm going to scroll down to $200,000 to pay off $200,000 because that you had about $55,000 worth of mortgage left, $200,000 in student loans left. So by $200,000 in student loans, do you realize that the bank wants $127,800 interest just on the student loan portion of your mortgage? $127,000. Okay.
Right.
That's over half. So wouldn't that make your 5% loans now at least 50% loans?
Right.
If you pay back, if I owe 200,000, but I'm going to pay $127,000 interest on it. So this is what we're doing now, understanding what banking is doing by getting us to roll loans into the mortgage. We don't look at the interest rate. We should look at the interest cost, because now every single month, starting out, your interest cost on each one of those loan payments is now starting out at $677, and it goes down from there. So we're not paying 3.99. We're paying a lot more than that. So what do we do when we have this situation? Come to the rescue. Let's cut your interest cost on these loans that you currently have by 75%. Pay off the loan faster and cheaper by knowing how much to pay and when to pay out of your current budget. So, doctor, did you realize that our average client who pays off their student loans pays it off in 5 to 7 years?
No.
Yes. Wouldn't that be better?
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yes.
Mine is due to be maturity date is 2038.
2038. So how would you like to beat that by several years?
That'd be nice.
Okay. So there is a way to understand it. I have a ton of videos up here on YouTube that you can start watching those videos. If you want, you can know the month, day, and year you could be debt free on these loans and how much interest you could save. You don't have to change your budget. You don't have to make more money. You don't have to sacrifice lifestyle. We're going to show you how to optimize the money that you already have, disrupt the bank's timing, which makes it impossible for them to charge you this exorbitant amount of interest. Would you like for us to take a look at that for you?
That'd be nice.
All
And
right.
in the meantime, would I just pay $100 a month on the car note and just on without paying extra money?
I wouldn't pay any extra money. I would just make the regular car note.
Right, but pay it weekly, I mean, like you said?
Oh, you can do that. Yeah, if you're going to make the same amount, yeah, just make the regular car payment and see if they'll accept it weekly. That'll save you some money.
Okay. Cool.
Yes, but any extra money should go to a loan that saves you more interest. Does that make more sense?
Absolutely.
All righty. So here, you want to go to what we have at the top of the screen, ice10kreports.com, ice10kreports.com. Fill out the information there, follow all the instructions, put in your information about your mortgage and your student loans. We'll tell you the month, day, and year you'll be debt free on that and how much interest you can save by using the P.I.L.L method instead of just guessing at how much to pay extra.
Thank you.
You are so welcome for coming to the stage. And thank you for bringing your question. You helped a lot of people. Jared, we have just enough time to do the moderator outros and to hear from Dr. Eric Thomas one more time.
All right, perfect. So we're going to start from the bottom and move up to the top. So Derek, please introduce yourself and let people know who you are and how they can get in touch with you.
Absolutely. So thanks for having me on stage. I'm just actually here to support Don and you guys. I'm Derek Forsting from the Orlando area. We specialize in housing the homeless. So if you guys are interested in that at all, we have a room tonight actually where we discuss that and all things shared housing and housing the homeless. So we talk about real estate in a way that a lot of people are not familiar with. So other than that, check out our bio. We also have a free webinar on it. But other than that, man, continue to listen to Dunn in terms of this P.I.L.L method and how it works, guys. It is truly, truly life-changing. And also for Dr. Eric Thomas to say it and also approve of it, like that was pretty special that he said that at Dunn's event in Nashville. So if it's good enough for ET, right, it's good enough for all of us. I'm Derek Forson, and you guys have a great day.
So definitely click on Derek's bio, click the bell on his room at 5 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Eastern, and check out everything that he'll be discussing in that room today. All right, up next is Katie.
Hi, it's Katie. Oh my gosh, thank you so much for an amazing room. So much value. Thank you, Ice. Thank you, Jarrett. Thank you, everyone else, and great questions. I personally received a lot of value. My name's Katie. I am a scientist, and I'm also really, really passionate about women in science, technology, engineering, and maths, and STEM, and diversity in STEM, which is where Jarrett and I have connected. And this is so valuable for building generational wealth. Thank you for all of this value. You can, please, if you want to communicate, check me out on Twitter or Instagram or both. And I look forward to the next amazing session. Thank you so much.
Awesome, Katie. Yeah, definitely make sure you tap in with Katie. She does some really great rooms on Clubhouse as well. And check out her replays. Up next is Coffee, if you're around. All right, Coffee might be occupied, but you definitely want to tap into her bio. She does a lot of amazing things on and off Clubhouse. You can reach her at coffee10k.com. So like her first name, 10k.com for all of her socials, all of her services, and follow her on Clubhouse. So when she opens up rooms, you're alerted. Up next is the official lender of the P.I.L.L method, Kenyatta.
As always, we appreciate your presence and pray that we've earned the privilege of your time. This is Kenyatta. You can reach out to me at kenyatta10k.com for all of your lending needs, whether that's a rehab, whether that's financing your fleet of Toro cars, or your business purpose loans. Please contact me and have a blessed money-making Monday.
Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Jared Albridge, and I'm a leader in the Women in Business Club. So you'll see me hosting tons of rooms in Women in Business. I have a room later today at 4 p.m. Central Time around 3 ways you can make extra money as an entrepreneur. In about 3 hours, I have a room in the Startup Club, 7 key secrets to getting your startup funded. and we'll be breaking down those 7 secrets. I have a room tomorrow where I'll be hosting 30 to 40 tech recruiters on stage. And this room is really near and dear to my heart because as somebody that was one of the few Black people in the room while I was in tech, diversity in tech is extremely important to me. That's how I built up my following to 73,000. It's really by adding value and giving back in the tech space by hosting these rooms where we'll have Google, Microsoft, Amazon, Netflix, Twitter, etc. on stage offering roles. And this is super important with all the layoffs that have been happening to counteract that by having rooms with recruiters that actually have roles that can get us closer access to these opportunities. And also host a room called Web 3.0 Opportunity Spotlight, where we spotlight opportunities in the metaverse. And I also connect brands to the metaverse as well. Check out my replay on Thursday. We had a room with 2,100 people that came in and out of the room, dropping gems. So if you're interested in seeing rooms of value like this room that we did today, feel free to give me a follow here. You can also check me out on Instagram, Twitter, as well as LinkedIn. All right, I'm passing the mic to Don.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here today. We're going to be right back here on Wednesday. And so I look forward to seeing you. Listen, click on follow me and follow my club. Click on my bio, find the club. It is the P.I.L.L Method Club, and follow us there. So wherever we are, you'll get notified. For the last thing we're going to hear is Dr. Eric Thomas and what he has to say about this method. And we will see you again on Wednesday. Thank you so much. All right, roll it.
Listen to me, y'all. I didn't even know he was responsible. But one of his mentees, probably about 4 years ago, maybe, took us through one of their programs, and I paid off my mortgage. But guess what happened? My marriage went to a whole nother level. And you know why? Because my wife is a security freak. And even when I blew up, my wife would be like, oh, you blew up, but how long is you gonna keep making this kind of money? I was like, I don't know, forever. She's like, you sure? Because I'm gonna keep my license as a nurse just in case you don't. And so when I paid the house off, my boy was like, you ain't gotta do that, you can do this. But when I paid the house off using that program, it took the stress level all the way down for my wife because we no longer had a mortgage. Does that make sense? That thing that was coming every month, that was getting on her nerves, we didn't have that no more. And so she was at rest. Do me a favor, take these principles and use them. Make the rest of your life the best of your life. I love you guys. Take care.